Tampa streets turn into a war zone as a traffic stop becomes a gun battle. A police car left riddled with bullets. One suspect dead, another locked up. Tonight, what police are saying about how this all unfolded.
But first, the Bay Area's child welfare system plagued with problems.
We never want a child to sleep in an office.
Tonight, investigator Walt Buteau asked Florida's DCF secretary what's changing to keep children safe. Good evening, I'm Keith Kate.
I'm Jennifer Lee. Thank you for joining us tonight.
DCF is on its way to solving a severe staffing shortage, but it's still working on issues that can leave children sleeping overnight in offices. 8 on Your Side exposed the problem years ago, and tonight, in a rare one-on-one interview, DCF's director reveals why she is actually optimistic about the future. 8 on Your Side investigator Walt Buteau is here right now with the details.
Jen and Keith, it's been a difficult 3 years at the top for DCF Secretary Siobhan Harris. Tonight, her perspective on the high turnover rate of investigators and the ongoing shortage of beds that she admits is still forcing some kids to sleep in offices.
You know, that's where I slept last night.
The sleepovers in DCF contractor offices are part of Bay Area foster care history, and as we reported just this week, it's still part of the present. Urelis Martyr tells us she recently refused an overnight placement in a Manatee County office.
But they were saying that's where they were going to make me sleep.
And you fought it.
I was like, no.
DCF Secretary Siobhan Harris spoke with 8 on Your Side about the issues her agency is facing, including emergency placements due to the ongoing shortage of foster parents. Will we ever get to a point where children aren't sleeping in offices in the Bay Area and other places in the state?
So I would say that we've made great strides. We never want a child to sleep in an office. That should only be where we're calling around and trying to find a placement, and it's a short period of time. Never a daily occurrence.
DCF is also trying to solve a staffing shortage revealed in this document obtained by 8 on Your Side. Late last year, the agency reported a nearly 24% staffing shortage and huge turnover in its investigative unit. 71% of child protective investigators and more than 56% of adult protective investigators left their jobs last fiscal year.
Our recruitment efforts are absolutely working.
Harris tells me DCF has now closed the gap. She says the job vacancy rate is down from more than 20% to 7%, plus new policies are in place to avoid burnout, including reducing administrative duties and adding family navigators to the most difficult cases.
Where for our highest risk cases, we're pairing a CPI with a family navigator who's walking alongside them with that case and supporting that family, really looking at reducing administrative burdens on our CPIs and also amplify the level of support that we're offering them.
Harris also tells me DCF created what she called a career ladder to help retain staff members. Vacancy is down to 7%, but the agency still recruiting and just held a job fair last week. More details on that on WFLA.com.
I know you've reported before that many people have said DCF just takes in too many kids.
Right.
Have you looked at the numbers to see, is that true?
Well, some people say it's still true. Harris says it is, and DCF data shows, and again, it's DCF data, about 20,000 children and adults are in out-of-home care right now. That is trending down from a decade high of 24,000 about 5 years ago. So down, but still too many to house in some cases. Again, the director acknowledging that kids are still sleeping in offices until we get more foster parents.
All right. Thank you, Walt. If you have something you would like Walt to investigate, you can call the 8 on Your Side helpline number. The number is 1-800-338-0808.
It's not a summer Hollywood blockbuster. This gun battle in the streets of Tampa was all too real overnight for those officers who ended up in the line of fire. Video from body cameras and the Tampa police chopper show the shootout that left a police vehicle riddled with bullets, and incredibly, no officers were shot.
But it did not end well for the shooter who's accused of starting this. News Channel 8's Trevor Sahaki is joining us live with that story. And Trevor, it's hard to fathom what this shooter was thinking. I mean, taking on police like that.
Yeah, Keith, Jen, it is very intense video to watch. While the suspect was found dead in the passenger seat of the car, the deputy chief said the 2 officers involved were very fortunate that wasn't them.
Where's that? Intense body camera and chopper video recently released by the Tampa Police Department shows a dramatic shootout last night. Hands out! Hands out of the car!
This could have gone wrong.
TPD Deputy Chief Calvin Johnson said officers got a call about a shooting in the parking lot of the Illusions Bar and Lounge near Busch Gardens. When police said they found the suspect's car, they tried to pull it over.
The passenger in that vehicle with the officers back here opens his door, shoots multiple rounds at the police officers.
Shots fired. The officers shot the passenger, who got back in the car before it drove off. But it pulled over down the road. And the driver got out and was arrested.
Maybe 5 minutes into the stop, we approach the vehicle and we get the passenger outside the vehicle. He was deceased on the scene.
Johnson said the officers involved were very fortunate. Pictures showed just how close the bullets in their car were to hitting them. This comes 13 years to the day after 2 officers were killed during a traffic stop.
So when this comes out and we got this anniversary of 2 officers getting shot and killed, it really messes with your mind because this was so close.
And there is no word yet on the charges the female driver may be facing. She was also uninjured in the shootout. Both officers were placed on standard administrative leave. Live in Tampa, Trevor Sahaki, 8 on your side.
Well, if you dared to venture outside like any of these people you know, it is one of the hottest days of the year. We found a few people out working, which is pure misery, and then some playing in the heat this afternoon in St. Petersburg.
Our chief meteorologist, Jeff Baradelli, joining us now. Jeff, we really are in some record-breaking territory when it comes to temps.
And that very well could continue as we head into the weekend as well. We've been talking about it, this heat dome. It's not just here. It's across the eastern half of the United States. In fact, Mexico just had its worst heat wave pretty much in history, record-keeping history. And Texas also shared a lot of all-time record highs. Here in the Tampa Bay area, it's not quite as extreme, the heat, but certainly very hot out there. Today we got to 96 degrees. 96, in fact, was the record high. The average high is right around 91. So in order to determine just how hot it is, I decided to send meteorologist Rebecca Barry on the roof to indeed confirm or deny whether or not it is hot. Rebecca, as a meteorologist, what is your opinion on the sun beating down on you right now?
It feels searing, I think is the word. You can feel it on your skin.
Is that scientific?
It just feels, I think so.
Okay.
My brain boiled about 2 minutes ago, so I'm not really sure. It is hot out here. I'm on the rooftop terrace of WFLA, and it's beautiful and sunny, but it's just brutally hot. Let's take a look at those current temperatures. So we hit 96 earlier. We're sitting in the mid-90s in a lot of locations still. Some of us are in the low 90s, the lucky ones, but not many of us. We will start to work our way down into those low 90s over the next couple of hours. In fact, when you take a look at the evening forecast, the temperatures stay in the 90s through sunset, but then they start to sink down through the 80s. And the key is we are going to get out of the 80s tonight, and that's because we don't have westerly winds. We're continuing with those light northeasterly winds. And so taking a look at your forecast for the Boom by the Bay. So Boom by the Bay is on Saturday night. We've got temperatures around 9 o'clock, which is when it takes place, in the mid-80s. Still feeling like the mid to low 90s, though. But the good news is it will be dry. There's a warm, dry breeze, and the humidity is starting to head back up. And so it looks like it'll be beautiful to kick off this 4-day weekend celebration. A lot of people taking now through Tuesday, the 4th of July off. Coming up in just a few minutes, Jeff Baradelli is going to have the 4th of July forecast.
All right. Thank you, Rebecca.
And as your air conditioning runs nonstop right now, here's a little good news. FPL just announced power rates are going down in July. It's because of the downward trend in natural gas prices. That rate decrease, coupled with one in May, should help the average household save $8 a month on the next power bill compared with just a few months ago. You're not going to get a big break on your student loans, though. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court handed down a decision that effectively killed President Joe Biden's plan to cancel or reduce federal student debt. The plan would have cost an estimated $400 billion, affecting 43 million Americans. President Biden claimed that a 2003 law dealing with student loans gave him the authority to cancel between $10,000 and $20,000 in debts. The High Court said that law does not give him that power, and Congress must endorse such a large, costly plan. Loan repayments, which have been on hold since the start of the COVID pandemic, will resume in October. In another big ruling today, the Supreme Court delivered a victory for a Christian graphic artist who wished to refuse work on wedding websites for same-sex couples. The Colorado designer argued that a state law violated her free speech rights, and the conservatives on the court agreed in a 6-3 decision. In the dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said the symbolic effect of the decision, quote, marks gays and lesbians for second-class status.
Increases in the cost of living across the Tampa Bay area are leaving some families struggling to keep a roof over their head. Today, News Channel 8's Annie Mapp spoke with some folks at Metropolitan Ministries and a single mom about the challenges.
Metropolitan Ministries tells me their shelter here in Tampa is completely full, and that's because families are being evicted and crying out for help as they can no longer afford to live in the Bay Area.
The rent crisis. I'm battling that right now.
Jennifer Nicholson is a single mother caring for 7 kids. She's about to be 2 months behind on rent.
My landlord is reasonable right now. She just really gave me a 5-day notice in June.
Nicholson has relied on rent and utility assistance programs to make ends meet, but an increase in demand for those services have left her without help.
I call a lot of agencies. No one has any funding, and my fear is just being homeless again.
Metropolitan Ministries helps families like the Nicholsons, but only a limited amount of assistance applications are approved each month. People unable to get help to pay for housing are ending up at shelters. There are several programs available to help people pay their rent and utilities. I have those details on WFLA.com. Reporting in Tampa, Annie Mapp, 8 on your side.
So as if it's not hot enough today, they are setting cars on fire in Clearwater.
Sounds bizarre, but they have a very good reason to do it. Justin Shecker is live tonight to show us what's happening.
Right now, 11 Clearwater fire recruits are being put to the test, how they're learning to extinguish car fires, and what you should do if your ride goes up in flames.
Plus, coming up in sports, it's Bucks and bowling for a good cause. We'll hear from Rashad White about this opportunity to give back. And mark your calendar for Saturday, July 15th for the very first Bloom Health Expo. News Channel 8 is on your side, bringing you the latest trends in health and fitness. There will be free health screenings, a kids zone, and you can compete in a field goal kicking contest with former Tampa Bay Buck Martin Gramatica. That's Saturday, July 15th from 10 to 4 at the Bucks Advent Health Training Center.
You're watching News Channel 8 at 6, Tampa Bay's most watched 6 p.m. newscast.
Right now in Clearwater, the fire department is heating things up.
They are conducting some important training, setting cars on fire. Justin Shecker joins us live tonight in Clearwater with more on the story, and a fire is what you're dealing with.
That's right. They're setting actually 4 cars on fire here during this training exercise. Right now, the 11 Clearwater fire recruits are 4 weeks into their training. And right now they're being put to the test at putting out most inherently dangerous types of fires. You're taking a live look here at the second car they have set ablaze. The firefighters are standing ready to go in and try to put this fire out. They actually call this a family fire night because the recruits' family members are actually here over to my right in the bleachers at a safe distance, watching their family members, the progress they made so far during training. Now today these recruits went through a 2-hour session on how to attack a car fire. And the chief in charge of training says they're advised to approach the car at a 45-degree angle from the front or back. Looks like they're about to get the hose going here any second now, which shows to you live. Again, this is a really important training. Again, one of the most dangerous types of fires that can happen really at any given time on the highway, any roadways. There goes the hose. Here comes the recruits trying to put this blaze out. Now, regardless if it's a gas or electric car, responding to car fires is a big challenge for firefighters.
It's the unknowns. The materials that are used in cars has changed over the decades, and you really don't know what you're going to get. A lot of people in the industry will joke and say that a car fire is really a rolling dumpster fire.
And again, back out here live, you look at this live exercise training. The firefighters are trying to put out the fire in this white sedan over here to my left. Now, these 11 recruits have 7 more weeks of training before they officially become Clearwater firefighters. Keith?
Well, Justin, I imagine if a car catches on fire, the first thing you want to do is get out of the car. I mean, that just is common sense. But are they offering any other advice for drivers who are maybe out there in the car, suddenly they see smoke and maybe fire?
Well, you're absolutely right, Keith. The chief says the first thing you got to do is stop driving, pull over to a safe area and call 911. He also recommends maybe keeping a small fire extinguisher with you in your vehicle.
Good idea. Thank you. Justin Shecker live in Clearwater.
Max Defender 8, the most advanced weather radar in Florida.
And there's not much on radar right now, and the reason for it is we have a big ridge of high pressure, a big warm dome in the atmosphere. We call it the heat dome. And underneath these heat domes, we have air that is actually sinking. That suppresses the air, it crushes the clouds from forming, gives us lots of sun, and also makes it very hot. So today we tied a record in Tampa at 96 degrees, and I think tomorrow we'll probably come close to tying a record again, and we'll come very close as we head into Sunday as well. So a record-breaking or near record-breaking weekend ahead. In Crystal River right now, temperature is 94 degrees. Not much wind to help cool us down. In fact, you take a look here, the sea breeze has barely penetrated inland at all. Now notice that the actual temperatures, which are in the mid-90s, not too different from the feels-like temperatures, which are in the mid to upper 90s to near 100 degrees. That's because the humidity has come down a little bit today. It'll stay on the lower side tomorrow, but start to increase, start to creep back in on Sunday and Monday. And as it does so, those feels-like numbers will really start to go up, and you'll see that in a couple of seconds. Here's a look at Max Defender 8 radar. There's really not much out there. It's nice and quiet. Stays dry overnight tonight and tomorrow morning as well. In fact, there's not going to be much on the radar tomorrow. Partly sunny. There will be a couple of spotty showers during the afternoon, but rain chances 10% or less. It's well below normal. Things will change on Sunday as the atmosphere begins to moisten up. We'll see the west coast sea breeze become a bit more active and a better chance of those scattered showers and thunderstorms. Rain chances going from around 10% tomorrow to probably closer to 40% tomorrow, right along I-75. That's where the best chance of rain is going to be. And you can see those rain chances once they get to 40%. They stay there on Monday and also on the 4th of July, Tuesday. So back to more normal conditions as we head into next week. In terms of the dew point, notice we've had this wedge of drier air that moved in today with the help of a northeast wind. And it'll be with us again tomorrow with dew points around 71. It's very muggy, but it's not excessive. Unfortunately, we're creeping towards excessive as we head towards Monday and Tuesday. And so the heat index forecast is going to be going up as well. It'll feel close to what the actual numbers will be. Both today we have it and tomorrow as well. But notice as we head to Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, those feels like numbers creep into the danger or extreme danger categories around 105 to 110 degrees again. If you're going to be boating the next couple of days, really the next several days, we're looking great. Look at these winds, very light, high pressure is near us. And as long as it's near us, winds will be generally 10 miles an hour or less straight through next week. So if you can't get on a boat tomorrow or Sunday, maybe you can do it Monday or Tuesday. The winds will be fairly light. Here's a look at your 8-day forecast now. Low rain chances tomorrow, lots of sun, very hot over the weekend. Scattered showers and storms start on Sunday, and then they last basically all of next week. Looks like we may see a better rain chance towards the end of next week. That's your weather forecast. Now here's a look at what's tonight on News Nation.
Tonight on News Nation, the Supreme Court shuts down Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, what today's ruling means for millions of Americans, and how it could impact Biden's re-election campaign. Chris is tackling every angle, tonight on Cuomo. Then on Banfield, more experts are coming out with new information on UFOs. Is the government trying to hide them and cover up their claims? That's tonight on Banfield, only on News Nation. To find News Nation, go to joinnn.com.
You can also find it on the channels you see on your screen. We're back in a moment with sports.
Cheers to the morning and starting it off right with the best local news coverage, a forecast to plan your day around, and traffic reports to beat the morning rush. Wake up with News Channel 8 today, weekday mornings.
Bucks running back Rashad White hosted a youth charity event. The Tampa General Hospital Strikes for Kids, partnering with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tampa Bay. When White was just 8 years old, he was a little in this organization, which has had a tremendous impact on his life. He said his big brother is like family and was actually at the event with him today. It may just be his second year in the league, but he is eager to use his platform already to give back.
In life, that's what it's about. How can you inspire or impact someone else's life? So that's a big thing, you know, in general. So you just want to kind of, like you said, just pass it down, show people the right way to do things, and show. I mean, even when you know, have a high level of success, you can still lead the younger generation.
Florida's Ross Chastain coming off his first win of the season and is now in Chicago ahead of this weekend's first ever NASCAR Cup Series street race. Chastain told me today that he was walking around Navy Pier yesterday and he could feel the buzz in the city.
Of course, I'm a NASCAR driver. I wore like a sponsored shirt, like a t-shirt, and people would see it and look at me, NASCAR? I'm like, yeah. They didn't know who I was, but they could tell whoever's wearing a shirt like that must be something with NASCAR. And they're like, yeah, we heard about it.
We heard about it.
Meanwhile, the Rays, they won that series against the Diamondbacks. They're staying out west for 3 with the Mariners. Tonight's a 10:10 first pitch, East Coast time. Shane McClanahan, much anticipated return from him. First start since he hurt his back last Thursday.
It's a good win for him, though, in the series.
It was, yeah. Ross was so funny. He was like, yes, in typical NASCAR form, I was wearing a sponsored shirt. He's like, yeah. He said, I think I sold a few more tickets because they didn't know who he was. So he was like, come on to the race.
Yeah, you should try it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Karen. Thank you for joining us. NBC Nightly News is next, followed by News Channel 8 at 7.
And we'll see you back here tonight for News Channel 8 at 11. Good night.